This cherry was invented here. As you can see, it's still like, that some man said bag of pastries. I used to work at his restaurants. Got it tattooed on my arm here. Hey friends, Matt back at it again with another little vlog, and I'm gonna make, or kind of recipe test, a flan, but with corn. So I'm just gonna go ahead and slap the camera on my apron here. I'm doing sort of like a recipe test. Let me get it all straightened out for you guys. Recipe test, and I need to kind of pre-make this in advance before I start the video tomorrow, just because it takes 24 hours to set up. So the goal here pretty much is to utilize the same thing I would for flan, but I want to do the addition of corn. And the reason why I want to add corn is because I think it's going to add that extra creaminess. I have all this leftover corn from when I just filmed a video on corn gnocchi. So I thought this would be a good way to utilize it. Whenever I pulverize corn with water, I make something called corn milk, and that has a lot of starch. And I think that starch is gonna add to like the creaminess of the flan. It's gonna probably make it better. Then the addition of the sweetened condensed milk, followed by the sweetened condensed milk, not the evaporated milk, sorry. This flan recipe has pretty much been with me since I was working in restaurants when I was 16. I worked in South Texas, and in South Texas, you know, I worked with so many Mexicans. You know, I had Mexicans in my family too. You know, I am Mexican, but like anyways, that's beyond the point. We would always follow the same recipe, and that was 1 can of the sweetened condensed milk, 1 can of evaporated milk, and 3 eggs. That is your typical Mexican flan recipe. I've been keeping these in here because then I can just keep them plugged in the charger. It's super handy. Now, the whole reason why I'm putting the eggs in last is just because there wasn't enough room in the blender. Ideally, I would just like put it all in the blender at once. Can't forget the sugar, about 1 tablespoon. I might want to add 1 more egg just to help this custard set, just because I added some more liquid. Corn has water content, so I can't forget about that. This is just a test, we'll see. Here's my flan base, but as you can see, lots of air bubbles. I just need to let that settle a bit, and the reason why is just I don't want air bubbles in my base. Before I need to even get that going, I need to make my sugar. I always eyeball this part, honestly, depending on how much I want. Just let this go until it's a nice dark color. Now I just need to prepare these. I like to take my sugar a little far, like almost burned. There we go. It's been a while since I've made flan in a jar. The last time I did this shoot must have been like 2017. So I usually just give these a little second to like kind of stiffen up and chill a bit before I pour in the flan, just so I'm not pouring it on freaking boiling hot sugar and it like starts curdling a little bit. I don't want that. I like to give it a little stir, just like all the stuff on the bottoms kind of come to the top. All right, I'll probably pour these and give them about, I don't know, centimeter of room. Yeah, that seems about right. I'm told that I can't seal these like all the way. I need to leave a touch of room because what's gonna happen is it's gonna expand with the pressure and then the glass can break. So I need to leave just a little bit of room for air to escape. Okay, now here's my water bath. I have it set to 180 because I actually want this set to 176, but I have to take into account that the temperature is going to drop once I add in the flan, just because the flan is going to chill it up a bit. Okay, now they're in the water bath, and I can see little air bubbles escaping. I'm really hoping that no water's getting in it. Like I said, I haven't done this since like 2017. I'm not much of a sous vide person, but I think it'll work. This should work, ideally. It's been 1 hour and 30 minutes. at 177 degrees Fahrenheit. As you can see, it's still like a little jiggly, a little liquidy, but it's perfect. See, it's like completely set on the top, and there's just not an air bubble in sight there. It looks completely clean. So I'm pulling these out. It smells like creamed corn. Oh, so good. If you happen to have been watching the vlog today and then you saw that it was taken down, this is why. For some reason when I uploaded it, it like cut off right here. So like 10 minutes of the video was missing. So I'm having to re-export it. Really, really cool. Can I just do a cup of the Rainier cherries?
Sure thing, it's $5.
Brad, right on, thank you.
Yeah, have a nice day.
You too. So this cherry was invented here. Okay, so you can't see it today because it's kind of hazy, but that's where Mount Rainier would be. I like to call it Mount Rainier because it's fancier, but this is what they're named after, Mount Rainier cherries. Look, mainly I wanted to show these guys off because it's just super cool that some man said, let me go ahead and invent a new type of fruit because I want it to be better. This is honestly the best because it's like tart and sweet. You got best of both worlds. Like imagine like the perfect combo in one little package. I just think it's so cool that it was invented at a university. It kind of makes me think about universities in a different way, because honestly I think university is a scam, but that's why I cooked for a living. I worked in restaurants. I don't got the edumacation, you know what I'm talking about? But Rainier cherries are one of those things that I never realized were invented in Seattle, so it's a local staple. These cherries are around the same time like stone fruits start to come in, probably around like August, late summer, late spring, and I don't know if they sell these anywhere else in the US. I never saw these till I moved to Seattle. They're mainly grown in the Pacific Northwest, but it was a cross between a Bing and a Van cherry. So it's got like a tartness and a sweetness. It's delicious. This right here is known as the chef's garden. I used to come up here all the time when I was doing pop-up dinners, by the way. I love that even though the market is really packed right now with lots of tourists, this is still fairly empty. There's no one here on the rooftop. No one really knows about it. I guess I'm kind of giving away the secret right now, but the chef's garden, it's just right by the fish guys, the guys that throw the fish. I would sit on this table right here before going into the restaurant most days, and I would just chill here, maybe sometimes bring a little hambao, barbecue pork bun, and this was my like spot to just kind of chill out before work. Whenever I'm at the market, I always feel so nostalgic. I never went to my high school reunion, but it's like that feeling of going to your old high school. I kind of feel like that here. Today I realized it was the 10-year anniversary of me moving to Seattle. And it's pretty cool to think about that. Like all the things I've done in this market, this is where I got my Zagat 30 under 30 for all the pop-ups. I was doing pop-up dinners here. I was roaming around the market, talking to all the different fruit stand vendors and working with the fish guys. I even had like a documentary shot here. I almost got in a fight down the street there. Like I've had so many memories in this market, and it's cool. Like it's just always gonna be here, you know? It's also kind of cool that you can buy these by the cup. $5 for a cup. I don't know if that's steep, maybe, but I don't know. Would you guys want a cup of cherries? I think it's kind of cool that they have this as an option. I think you guys should follow this YouTube channel. Go follow that. Great. Got myself a bag of pastries. Got a little quenelle, super good. And then I've got a Queen Amman. I used to live in this neighborhood and I used to sit on these steps and just think. It's a really good area because like no one's ever really here. It's super quiet. This is known as the Capitol Hill neighborhood. When I moved here with nothing. I wanted to work for Chef Tom Douglas so bad. He is was the #1 chef in Seattle, restaurateur and everything. I even had the Texas senator send a letter of recommendation so I could work at Palace Kitchen. I came here not having a job. I came here with only $500, I put the down payment on an apartment, and it was really sketchy. That night, found out the apartment had bed bugs, infested with bed bugs. It was so bad. I had to get out of there with my cat at 3 in the morning and find a new place to live the next day, but I didn't have any money and I didn't have a job. So I came to this neighborhood, Capitol Hill, went on Craigslist, looked everywhere. I found a nice building. It was very sketchy actually, and the landlord got my situation and he was super cool. He like floated the month for me, let me pay at the end of the month. It was about $1,100 for that rent. I slept on hardwood floor, and I went to Palace Kitchen the next day, staged, which means basically like try out, and I got the job at the end of the night. My chef at the time that was about to hire me, he like asked me what I wanted to do. He told me, he's like, you got a really bright future. He threw me on the grill that night, which was like the toughest station, and I got a good burn on my arm. And that was my job that I started at in Seattle 10 years ago, and just kept going ever since. But it was a really crazy start, man. I bought a one-way ticket from home with no real like actual plan, you know? Just a freaking 20-year-old just going. Yeah, I'm grateful that I had the balls to do that, to be honest, because it's really risky to do that. And I recommend to do that. Get out of your comfort zone, take the leap, take the risk, and just keep going, knowing that you're gonna get to where you wanna be, as long as you have that drive. Okay, so right now I'm with, this is Tom Douglas, if you don't know. I used to work at his restaurants, and I started at one of his restaurants over 10 years ago. Got it tattooed on my arm here. That's the cock I've got right there on my arm. But this is his radio show. It's super rad.
I want to see your cock. You just show me your arm.
Yeah, and then my old chef Nate will like show the thigh.
Right, exactly. Welcome back to the Hot Stove Society.
All right, you want to say bye to the vlog, Tom?
Bye, vlog.